basin, so people can go and search and all that on there. Has this tie-in with the National World War I. Yeah.
Bill? I'm Bill Peterson. Nice to meet you. Western history.
I'm going to be quick before the sun completely goes away. Bill Brown, I'm the president of the Association of the Oldest Inhabitants, District's oldest civic ward. Welcome you to this program commemorating the 90th anniversary of the 1920 District of Columbia World War I 16th Street tree. I'd like to extend our appreciation to everyone who's come out today, some AOIs. John Kelly from the Washington Post, who wrote a very eloquent piece in this. Brothers that served in World War I who are commemorated in this memorial, and everyone else who's come out and is interested in this project. Who's here with us today suggested that AOI undertake this effort to recognize this memorial, which was established May 31st, 1920, in honor of men and women who gave their lives in the great conflict of 1917 to 1919, which we now know as World War I. Much attention in condition of the District of Columbia World War I memorial and the ash grove on the National Mall, and we're pleased that revitalization funds restore that memorial to the district's World War I fallen. However, little, if any, attention has been paid to this equally important memorial. Seated the memorial on the mall, and almost since its dedication has gained notoriety for the lack of attention paid to it. After the original 500 recognized in 1920, an additional 23 trees were planted along 16th Street here, bringing the total to 530 memorial trees and markers. In 1927, the Washington Post wrote deploring the lack of attention this memorial had received since its dedication, despite the fact that in 1924, the American Legion had volunteers clean, repair, and replace several damaged markers. In fact, the district superintendent of trees and parking, Clifford Lanham, said it was the responsible for the maintenance of the memorial, not the district. So in 1982 and again in 1986, the Post's Bob Levy attempted to engage his readers in helping to restore and preserve this. In 2000, the Washington City paper wrote an extensive article on this history of the memorial and the lack of attention it has received over the years, except for the efforts of a few of its neighbors, who some of you might be among us today. Today, with the assistance of District of Columbia Council member Phil Mendelson, who's here with us today, Councilman Mendelson, welcome. We hope to memorial to the D.C. veterans of World War I. Councilman Mendelson introduced a ceremonial resolution which was passed by the D.C. Council on May 4th, calling attention of this memorial. Now, I did not organize this or coordinate this, but Councilman Mendelson, will you read the resolution for us? Will you come up here, please?
I usually don't read the whole resolution, but I am going to read it because it speaks of the history. The resolution, which as we said was introduced on May 4th and approved by the Council, the resolution is to acknowledge the 90th anniversary of the memorial trees along 16th Street Northwest. Whereas more than 26,000 District of Columbia citizens, men and women, either volunteered or were draft horses deployed to Europe to participate in the Great War, whereas 507 lost their lives in this fight for freedom, where the oldest inhabitants of the District of Columbia, the city's oldest civic organization, which was founded in 1865, convened a joint meeting with their African American counterparts, oldest inhabitants colored, to honor the district's World War I veterans in 1920, and whereas the government of the District of Columbia, the American Legion, the Grand Army of the Republic, the United Confederate Veterans, and the United Spanish War Veterans joined together to commemorate these fallen in 1920, and whereas 2.3 miles of 16th Street Northwest between Alaska Avenue and Webster Street were designated as a memorial of heroes, and whereas 507 Norway maple saplings were planted, and the name of one of the 507 fallen veterans was either affixed to a small concrete post nearby the tree, and whereas Monday, May 31st, 2010, the Associates of the District of Columbia will celebrate the 90th anniversary of the dedication of the 16th Street World War I memorial trees, resolved by the Council of the District of Columbia, call upon all of its citizens to pause and reflect on the supreme sacrifice made by its sons and daughters who gave their lives not only in World War I, but in all the wars and military action dates, and reaffirms the memorial to the fallen heroes of World War I embodied in the trees along 16th Street Northwest, and recognizes and acknowledges the events for its efforts in reminding us of this memorial. And I think we should spend the next several years planning to restore and reinvigorate this memorial.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking this cause on. So today, on the occasion of the 90th of this memorial, the AOI, together with others concerned with its preservation, are calling upon all interested parties to rededicate the centennial on May 31st, 2020, have in place 2 waysides or markers which tell the story and the history of the 16th Street Tree Memorial, that would list the names of the women to whom it was originally dedicated, many whose names you see listed up here today, provide a sample marker of the original design, and take staining markers. Through partnerships with the affected veterans groups, the DC government, the National Park Service, and KC Trees, we believe that this is not a memorial and ensuring survival for another 100 years. Now, before I actually conclude, I know we have a couple people that would like to make additional comment. We have historian Carol Gibbs who's here. Councilman Mendelson, did you want to say anything extemporaneously in addition to reading the resolution? Nelson, if you come up, and then good morning, Carol. We're glad to have you with us. Nelson, can you come up in this area, please? This is Nelson Snyder. He's a historian for the Association of Old. Is there anybody else that would like to make any comments before Lee? First of all, I would invite everyone to please look at the documentation that Lee has provided here. And as some of you may know, he's offered to conduct a walking tour as far as people can handle it in the heat and all along the memorial. So Lee is here. Raise your hand, Lee, although I think everyone knows you. Lee will be conducting that for anyone that wants to participate. Did you have one last thought, Nelson?
At the dedication ceremony, the American Legion was represented, according to what Lee has covered. And I'm a member of the National Post of the American Legion in Capitol Hill, so I just wanted to mention the American Legion is represented here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Well, thank you, everyone. As you can see, this memorial should be preserved in spite of the fact that it's not the district's most well-known memorial. We hope everyone will take up our challenge and work to rededicate the memorial on this site 10 years from now. For those of you who are interested, Lee's going to take his walk along the 2.3 miles each way. If you do not wish to walk with Lee, then I'll close by thanking all of you for your interest in this special site and ask that we have a moment of silence for those who are commemorated here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
This is the longest memorial
Lee's always adding another little known fact. The longest memorial in Washington. Thank you all very much for coming out today. Hi, Joe. Good evening.
Yep.